Yo, what is going on, guys? Hope you are well, wherever you are, whatever the time. Welcome back to another daily vlog. They're still rolling. 2 weeks going, 2 weeks strong. It's tough though, I'm not gonna lie. It's demanding, but I'm enjoying the challenge. Anyway, we got meal two coming up, which is gonna be my pre-workout meal. This morning's been a bit of a busy one, finalizing a new client setup, which I'm really excited about. Going to be working with a guy called Amit, who is basically transferred over from Adam. So Adam was coaching him. He's now going to be coached by myself, which is cool. And he is not actually a competitive bodybuilder. He is just somebody who wants to maintain a good body composition whilst also incorporating running in his life. So that is something that we have to consider with his programming. So there was that. I was also catching up on some check-ins, some late check-ins I had to do. You guys were late with your check-ins. So I had to do that this morning and then also adjust my own plan for prep because the diet break is over. As sad as that is, the diet break's over. But it's not all doom and gloom. My food isn't as low as what it was previously. I've just made some slight adjustments to where food was at over the diet break, but it's nothing as low as what it was when I was pushing for a lot more condition. But I do believe that with the food setup anyway, I will lose some more body fat just because of the position that my physique is in. Right, so this pre-workout meal is my second meal of the day, and it's going to be 330 grams of cooked weight rice. So that's down 45 grams from what it was during my diet break. We have 120 grams of cooked weight chicken, which is the same as what it was in the diet break. And we have 100 grams of nicely chopped tomato, 3 grams of salt, black pepper, 20 grams of tomato ketchup. So it's going to be the pre-workout meal. Very good. So what have I changed in the pursuit of more fat loss? So during my diet break, as I said, I was taking in about 600 grams of carbohydrates a day. I also had a pizza, I also had spag bowl, I also had a lemon muffin, and just eased off the gas in terms of fat loss. Wanted to push fullness a little bit more to see how far I could go before I spilled over or started to look worse. It didn't really happen. I didn't actually end up looking worse, but I definitely do want to get a little bit leaner going into the final half of the season. So I've just made a reduction in my food. I was thinking about going down to my old baseline diet, which was about 260 grams of carbs on training days and like 170 carb on rest days. And I just don't think my food needs to go that low. I'm just holding at 97 on 600 grams of carbs. So I thought, let me just make a drop from there. So I took off about 100 grams of carbs. So we're on 485 grams of carbs on training days and 400 grams of carbs on rest days. So it's a really good amount of food. I'm hungry as hell, but it's honestly a good amount of food. And I really want to try and preserve performance as much as possible and get really good sessions in. I think my body weight doesn't probably need to come down to 93 kilos again. I think I'll see improvements in condition even by dropping a couple of kilos. Steps are actually at 10,000 a day, as opposed to 12, which is what they were prior to going into the diet break and prior to my first show. I just don't think my steps need to be that high for me to see a drop in body weight. And then also my cardio is still at 20 minutes. That's been reintroduced. I just haven't been doing my cardio as of late as well because my asthma is being a bitch. As I said in yesterday's vlog, I've got an asthma review coming up to make sure that my lungs are all good, but I've just been getting like out of breath, and I honestly think it's a change in the weather, going from the summer months to like winter, colder months, that change in humidity as well. It just impacts my breathing so much. I can get on the bike or I could run or I could do cardio for an hour and not have any asthma symptoms. But then as soon as the weather changes, I'm just like, my nose is getting blocky and stuffed. And anyway, that's the game plan. And obviously I want to get leaner now. I'm going to be pushing for more fat loss over the course of the next 2.5 weeks. So that'll take me up to about the 20th of August, right? And then from that point on, I honestly want to just reverse food up. I probably won't even peak. I'll literally just be bringing food up and get myself to a point where I pretty much just look good every day. Like there's no hoping or wishing or a peak week strategy that makes sure that I land a good look on a certain day. It's just a case of having food at maintenance and just waking up looking good every day and lean enough. And that'll really be it. And I'll be pushing food a lot harder this time, as I've said many times, going into my next show because I have the room to be able to do so. Today, I'm also going to be showing you my leg day. Again, kind of similar style to the previous sessions that I've shown in the daily vlogs. Maybe not as much detail. I do want to like hone in and focus a bit more. So I'll give you like a little recap, but it won't be anything dramatic. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Legs today, work when I get back, a lot of content to do, and mobility. Shout out to GoWard. It basically gave me a year free of mobility to essentially make. I'm going to be making like a reel explaining the importance of mobility for bodybuilders, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll make the content because I've been using that app. Like it's not as if they've just approached me and said, hey, here's this offer that we can give you. No. Like I've been using the app. It's an incredible app. I genuinely believe in the app. I think bodybuilders should be using an app like this. So I was like, yeah, why not? So today I need to finalize making that piece of content for them. And yeah, that's really about it. Just making sure that all the clients are in a good spot. Speaking of clients, if you do want to inquire with coaching with myself, click the link in the description below and I'll get back to you. It will essentially involve us getting on a call to discuss your goals. I'll explain the pricing on the call as well. Also, did you watch the Tampa Pro? Because, bruh, Jordan Hutchinson took the win. I think well deserved, although it could have gone either way with him and Quinn. Quinn honestly surprised me. He looked really good. He looked pretty sharp. He can improve a little bit. He can get a little bit harder, but he looked really good. And what's crazy about Quinn is he's so big and his shape is so crazy that if he just comes in sharp enough, I don't think there's many people that can beat him. And that was really kind of just the concern. It was like, is he going to overcompensate for being so flat and stringy in previous showings and just go a little bit too hard in terms of fullness and trying to hold on to that size? Because there's a line, right? Like you have to obviously get flat enough to take off that body fat, but you don't want to take it so far that you just end up pissing away all your muscle. So, but I think he nailed it, to be honest. He looked incredible. And he'll be doing Texas. So I think if he comes in harder, I definitely think he can beat Jordan. His shape is crazy. He's tall. It looks sick. And then there was Joe Palacios as well, who came third. Amazing physique. The best back on the day, like the best back in the show. Back double bicep was crazy, thick, incredible condition, wild. John Jewett, solid fourth. The disappointment was obviously in Justin Shire. I think he just needs a little bit more condition and he's missing a bit from the back. He's missing that thickness, that density. And that's just a time thing. He started bodybuilding quite late. I think he started bodybuilding like in his 30s in terms of gear usage and like actually taking bodybuilding seriously. So he's like a late bloomer. But he's got a lot of time to make improvements. I think he's gone straight into an off season. But I think he finished like 13th, which was obviously not what he expected. But the competition was tough. It was very, very tough. So yeah, all in all, man, great show. And I'm looking forward to Texas, to be honest. But anyway, I'm going to finish this meal and then head to the gym. So I'll see you there. So that we're back from a very good leg session. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a breakdown whilst I make my post-workout meal and have a little bit of a discussion with you. So yeah, really good session. Today's session was basically it's like glute and ham bias more so, as opposed to quads. And yeah, honestly, a very good session. Definitely a lot better than what this session was like 6 days ago. It wasn't the best session just in terms of getting into the groove of things, but this one was very nice. I did make a slight adjustment to the session, but honestly, I think it was a wise adjustment, if you ask me. I think the adjustment more so had like my physique and longevity in mind. Anyway, the session kicked off with, well, some stretching first and a walk on the treadmill to get back to some clients. But then it kicked off with the abductor on the Prime kit. And this felt great. Really, really good kit, to be honest with you. I typically have used the Life Fitness one, but I feel like it's a little bit too light. And I also like the fact that when I put a bumper plate behind me on the abductor, it just shifts my hips a bit more forward, and then the pads at the side are a little bit higher up on the leg, and it feels fantastic. It feels really good. So I started off with abduction, and then I went straight into adduction. So just getting the hips warm prior to going into any kind of leg pressing, hinging, or any of the other bigger movements. And my hips felt good, felt great, definitely. Felt a lot more powerful, felt a lot more used to the movement. I've now had 3 sessions since that bad session. So I've had a chance to kind of reacquire that skill of just feeling powerful and confident on the adductor. So that was all good. Just to note as well, I'm not using a logbook here. I do, for the adductor, know what load I'm typically using anyway. Like, I know that my top set is a stack plus 15 pounds, and I've just been keeping it on that. And then my back off set is one below the stack plus 5 pounds. So I have a good idea as to where my loading is, but I'm just not using the logbook because I think it will do me more harm than good at this point. So the logbook is out. I'm just ensuring that I'm getting very good reps. So yeah, abduction, adduction. I then went into a seated hamstring curl. Now this was kind of the first adjustment that I made, which I'll typically do a lying hamstring curl on this day. But as I said in the last video, I think that's one of the things that's contributing to my knee being a bit dodgy. And the seated hamstring curl works really well for me. It just works really well. I like that you're a little bit more stable. I like that you're obviously getting that flexion at the hip as well. So you're getting a really good stretch of the hamstring. Yeah, so I thought, why not just do it on both of my leg sessions? So seated hamstring curl, that was 2 sets, of course, using the seat belt. Again, felt solid. My top set normally on this is a stack. I went just below the stack, but I ensured that reps were quality. I ended up getting more reps anyway, but I felt great. So it was a good start. I then went on to leg extensions prior to my leg press. Leg extensions, really good. One a little bit heavier than last time. So I'm just slowly building up that tolerance to my knee. There was no knee pain, and the pump through my quads was fantastic. Let me just get some milk. Yeah, the pump through my quads was immense. There was no knee pain. And again, notice how much time I'm spending in that stretch, just owning that change in direction. Really, I love the pin loaded prime leg extension because really as well, you can make it as difficult as you want to make it. I mean, you can load the stack on there if you want, but you'll end up just swinging the weight, and I don't think you'll really get much out of the quad. So 2 sets on there, which was great. And then we moved straight on to the hip press. It's been a couple of weeks, or well, more than a couple of weeks. 3 weeks since I've done this movement, because the last time I'd done this session, I'd done the Nebula leg press. And again, felt really good, right? So yeah, it felt fantastic. So there was 2 sets on that hip press, and I went lighter on the first set. And then I went heavier. I done 4 plates on the top set. So even though I'm not logging these sessions with my logbook or referring to my logbook, it doesn't mean that I'm like halving the weight that I typically would use. 4 plates is normally a top set for me. 3.5, I think, is the back off, or like 3.5. So again, loading's very similar, but I'm just making sure that reps are quality and I'm not just ignoring pain and ignoring terrible execution just to match my logbook. So anyway, yeah, 2 sets on there. Job done on there. I then moved on to, and you can laugh if you want, but instead of a Romanian deadlift with a barbell, I moved on to the Booty Builder hip extension machine. And I done 2 sets on there instead of my typical 1 set of RDLs with a barbell. Because at this condition, with how lean I am, with how my body's been feeling, just battered, beat up, the issue obviously I had with my knee, I just don't want to break. I don't want my body to break. I need to be able to last this season. And as much as it inflates your ego to be like, yeah, RDLs, and I'm a bodybuilder, like I'm doing RDLs, and RDLs make you a man, and cool, I get it. And I think I've done what I need to do in terms of retain numbers on that and perform well on that. But it's just not worth the squeeze at this point, if I'm being honest. I know that I can retain a really good posterior chain by doing that different movement. And the result, honestly, from that is like, I feel, my legs feel battered, but it's just my legs. I don't feel this like systemic beat down. I don't feel like I've been hit by a car post-workout. I feel my hamstrings, I feel my glutes. I feel those areas have been taxed, but I don't feel like, well, I'm in prep, but I don't feel like I'm absolutely annihilated. So made the call to take out the RDL with a barbell. And honestly, I think it was the right one. And then done 2 sets on there. And then I done the hip thrust, the Booty Builder hip thrust. Interestingly, like reps have dropped a bit on that one. And again, I think that's more just a skill thing because I hadn't done it in a while. That will build back up. I've been using 120 kilos, but that will build back up. And then I finished off with calves, which I didn't film, but I done them. I promise I done them. And that was a workout. So yeah, that was the workout. And very happy with it. I'm gonna be real. I'm absolutely starving now though. I'm super hungry. But this meal is gonna be Rice Krispies, 2 whole eggs, and 3 bacon medallions. There's gonna be 100 grams of Rice Krispies with a bit of cinnamon. So this meal is down from 125 grams of Rice Krispies just to 100. So yeah, we'll see how long the Rice Krispies last, because I'd probably opt for a carb source that doesn't feel like, it feels like it's there, then it's not. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I wonder how long the Rice Krispies will last. But anyway, one of the things that I wanted to discuss whilst the footage continues rolling is I've had a few inquiries from people who have competed before and they weren't necessarily happy with their look or just the process of the prep. And they're usually not happy with the look because they didn't get lean enough. They didn't manage to get the level of condition that they wanted. And every time I ask to see photos, one of the things that I'll ask is, well, whenever I ask to see photos, I'll ask to see photos of their start point. So what did you look like going into your prep? And 9 times out of 10, they're starting their prep way too heavy, way too out of shape. Like having having to lose damn near 40% of your body weight to get close to stage condition. And bodybuilding is just a completely different game in comparison to just standard fat loss. You can obviously get away with doing that if you're not looking to step on stage and you don't really care about body composition being that extreme. But when you're trying to chase lines in your glutes and razor sharp abs and striations through your quads, you need to start from a position where you actually look pretty lean already. Like you'll see people put up photos and they'll be like 8 weeks out and they're not really in shape. And I promise you, it's probably not going to happen. You're probably better off moving the show like back further, because you're not going to suddenly go from not really looking like you're in shape to in shape. That's really only reserved to people that are enhanced. And even then, if you're enhanced, you'll definitely have a better prep if your start point is better. Like if you want more detail through your glutes, you're going to have to start off with glutes pretty boxy to begin with. It won't just happen within 8 weeks. So that's definitely a common trend that I've noticed with a few people that I've inquired this week about just bringing a better look to stage. And my suggestion with that is always, of course, one, a better start point, but start working with the coach or a coach that you want to work with as soon as possible so that that coach can help you create the best possible start point. Like if you can go into a prep and you only need to lose 10 to 15% of your body weight, my God, what an incredible prep that is going to be. I already know for my next prep that I'm going to start in a much better position. I had my best start point this year, which was 110 kilos, right? I think I've lost exactly 15% of my body weight across this prep at my lowest point in prep. I think my best look will actually be around 95, 94 kilos. So about 14, 13% of my body weight. Next time I start a prep, I probably won't start heavier than 105 kilos. So I only have to lose 10, because it would just, and with more muscle as well, it would just make such a big difference to the look. It's dramatic how much of a difference that makes. When you're natural as well, it just is huge because you retain so much more tissue, performance is in a good spot, your body's not as stressed out because you haven't essentially cut yourself in half with fat loss. It's just a lot more efficient. So anyway, there's your advice for the day. I'm going to show you this meal and then I'm going to sign out. Let's have a look at it. So we got your Rice Krispies there, 100 grams with 200 ml of semi-skim milk. We got the eggs there, 2 whole eggs with 3 bacon medallions. That is the meal, the post-workout meal. I hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, leave it a like. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are, and I'll see you tomorrow.